Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another exciting race here in our Crosskeys 2021 tournament. Today we have Frostbite versus Tam. This is Swiss round 2. Joining me in the booth here today is Excalibur and the wonderful Walter the Fourth. So without further ado, I'm going to hand it over to them. Have a good one.
Good day. Good afternoon, I think, for us rather than morning, but it's a lovely Friday afternoon. Time for some Crosskeys. What do you think of the Swiss format, Walter?
I think it has a lot of upsides. It usually has a couple of downsides too, but I think we hopefully managed to negate some of them with the whole tiebreaker system. But I think like one of the best parts is that everyone gets to play a lot of games, which is like kind of what we're all here to do.
Yeah, I mean, there's a reason lots of, Magic, for instance, lots of games where you're going to go out for the day, playing Swiss all day, and then cutting to a finals bracket. Lets everybody go out, play the game that they like, and you still get to, have some playoffs or whatever at the end to make people, crown a grand champion.
Yeah, I mean, like, in the past years we have like double elimination, right? And Swiss is like kind of like that. It's like double elimination, but after you lose more than 2 games, you can like keep playing still. So,
well, it's double elim without the devastatingly terrible losers bracket taking place.
Yes, yeah, that's definitely could be an issue otherwise. Yeah, this should be a good game. Frostbite and Tam, they're both players that they play not only this mode, but like Link to the Past overall quite a lot. So
I always like to see the sort of contrast between the sort of generic rando practice versus the Crosskey specialists. See if there's sort of the Crosskey specific skills come out for one player or the other. Particularly routing, using connectors efficiently and so on.
Yeah, like one of the cool things with this game mode, which we're seeing already, like there's so many different starting strats, and like you could just branch into completely different routes. So it, like gives you like the whole idea of like rando is like it's supposed to like test your game knowledge, and you have to like adapt on the fly. And I feel like this game mode definitely does that a bit more than some of the other modes.
So Frostbite is definitely the first person I've ever seen go directly to CAC via the South Way. This seems like to me like an unusual opening. Tam finds Spiral Cave, which, if given that they've set out to go to Houlihan, is actually a terrible thing to find at Witch's Hut. But
yeah, it's a little bit awkward, but not having like any weapons or anything like that, it is. It's just gonna leave it for now anyways and come back for it later. Frostbite finding a pod right away here, so it's gonna have an opportunity here to farm a little bit of extra bombs here before heading into the rest of Kakariko.
Yeah, it's actually a great bomb farm. I've just gotten stream skips on Frostbite's side, so I have no idea if I'm live.
Yeah, I didn't really find much of interest yet here. I did find that we have a Ganon in the fairy drop-down, though, so a little bit extra important not to fail the Solan here.
On the other hand, finding Ganon early means that Tam can just fling themselves willy-nilly into holes from now on.
Yeah, that's fair.
Looks like Tam's going castle second, which is something reasonable to do after Houlihan. There's a couple of different ways you can go, but this way gets you a tree pole and
and it's also like an entrance. Like this area can be kind of awkward to route in otherwise, so like just doing it early is usually pretty okay, and especially like you do have the drop down, which are quite likely to give you some kind of items.
On the other hand, Frostbite finds Ganon's Tower, which is a couple of items. Good to know where it is later. I expect we're going to be quadruple dipping GT this seed, something like that. Tam finds Well and chooses not to make the walk around the castle to drop in.
Yeah, it's an awkward position because you don't have any bombs, and so would kind of have to gamble that it would be bombs in there. So probably just going to head back there quite soon, as soon as they get the bombs for it.
Missed which tier of tree pull they got the first time, and if they had access to a different tier with the bushes outside.
I'm pretty sure the first one was just a tier 1. So it would be quite a process to set up a tier 2 or tier 3.
Yeah. Yeah, okay. That's... And Frostbite's finding all the things over in his screen.
Yeah, this is what our third, well, now fourth dungeon so far. With finding Ice Palace right next to Link's house as well. To get half magic, that's pretty nice to have early. We can't really use it yet, but it's definitely gonna come in handy later.
I missed which entrance was Desert Palace front, but it's in Kakariko somewhere. And finally, we get Sanctuary start at the Lumberjack.
Ooh, and back of Sank, or the back of Escape is in the Lumberjack house, which is it's a little bit awkward. Definitely is something to keep in mind of maybe not running down to Zelda cell right away as soon as you find front of Escape.
Yeah, there's awkward key stealing questions, as well as if that key does turn up, oh boy, you should go back there as soon as you can, because it puts a whole bunch of things into logic that you otherwise aren't going to get to. Dude, I like it when items that are otherwise completely irrelevant all of a sudden become important, like they just did.
Yeah, for sure. To get the Eastern Big Key in the Lost Forest here as well. So that's a nice early big key to have. Now they would only need the bow in order to beat Eastern. It's like one of those dungeons that doesn't really require much in order to beat it.
Yeah, Frostbite found checked the connectors on Desert Palace, which is time consuming, but something that might pay off. And did find the Turtle Rock safety door, which is not the most useful door until you have a mirror, and then it actually gets you a fair amount of places. So we'll see if Frostbite can make use of that knowledge later. It wouldn't surprise me if Tam doesn't check those connectors, just because, again, it's a fairly long hike. You recognize... Which music are we playing on stream? I should figure out before I ask the question. Super Bunny Cave.
It's always nice to find this part of Super Bunny Cave, I feel like. You don't have to take like a one-way connector and like abruptly just end your routing that you're in. Just get a glove, so that's a good pickup.
A glove is an excellent pickup.
Yeah.
One-way connectors aren't so bad when they're not in a place that's horrible to get back to, right? Like, one-way connector there isn't the worst thing.
Yeah, that's fair. Tam went straight for doing some like 50-50 stones there that could drop bombs. Didn't get any. Just gonna head over to this drop down here that does require the glove. Something that we can check right away now that we have the glove. It's Magic Bat though, so still some extra requirements to actually get the item.
And I'm a little bit surprised at the aggression for checking drop downs, just because Pam knows where the well is, which is the best one to find. So it is in fact off to go check it.
Our favorite red spear guard is blocking the way a little bit there. Always a little bit awkward when you don't have a weapon to get past her. See if Frostbite heads over to the drop down or just go straight down to CAC.
Frostbite doesn't yet have the information on either the well or Ganon. So there's the other side of Bumper Cave, I think.
Yep. And there's the other side of Super Bunny Cave. How about that?
See, it would have been fine if Super Bunny was in there the other way around. And the cast. We are finding a bunch of useful places to know about later quite quickly in this seed.
Frostbite not knowing where Ganon is yet had to double check this entrance before jumping down. Let's get a small key though. Well, for Pod, we do know where Pod is as well, so that's quite good. We also found out where the witch hat is, and it's actually like right next to Sank, so pretty nice place to have it.
Yeah, it's nothing is worse than turning in your mushroom and knowing you're gonna have to make a epic quest to go pick up your reward.
Yeah.
Frostbite is not doing really well on these bottle pickups, I don't think. Is that a bee and a fairy so far?
Yeah, but managed to trade in one of the bees for another fairy, so super safe right now. Gonna be a little bit more awkward if we're gonna try for some Death Warp stuff.
Remember to let out your fairy and also your other fairy.
Yeah, especially with the way quick swap works now. You're only gonna see like one of the fairies when doing some quick swap action.
So Tam just checked the front door of the drop down there. They haven't yet found Useless Fairy. Useless Fairy is kind of obnoxious to walk out of, but I actually don't know what if that's correct from a expected value point of view.
Yeah, I think like the odds was more likely that it was going to be an item in there, but like also if it's the lumberjack, it's quite quick to just check if it's a good item or not.
Yeah, and there's a Tam hits the text box too soon before they can dump the bee. Wastes 10 seconds. And Frostbite is making up for their lack of Houlihan money with bow and arrow money. Going for the less swag but more consistent 64 rupee setup, which is really, really easy, rather than the swag Andy 99 rupee strat.
Yeah, I mean, in a race format, consistency tends to be pretty king. But yeah, it's a really good place to use to farm some extra rupees.
It's and I don't think Frostbite has yet cashed in the bottle vendor due to lack of funds. So it's even really important money farming. Gets a quasi weapon for their trouble. See if Chan's interested in aero games. It looks like no. And a key at the bat drop, which is it's a small key, so interesting enough to come back for later, almost certainly, but not a huge, game blocker probably.
Mm-hmm.
So write that one down, but don't get too excited.
And guess Frostbite might be heading down to some of those dungeons back again, like especially maybe Pod, to get some more items. We only have one small key, so it would unlock 2 more items, but it's still something that you can like end your path with.
So Frostbite there went into the Dark Connector to check if it was Old Man Rescue Cave, or presumably try to figure out which cave it was. I think it was the Diagonal Cave.
Yeah, I think so.
Which is worth making note of slightly. But following Dark Connectors in the dark at this point is unnecessary. But if it had been the Old Man Rescue Cave, that would have been a very useful sequence break. And all of these runners, even I'm good enough to do Old Man in the Dark. So, especially with a boomerang in hand, giving you some ability to see where you are.
Oh, there's our mushroom, and we do have that glove in order to get to potion shop, so that's something we could do right away. And Frostbite actually first time going over to the potion shop we'll be able to like turn that in and do Spiral Cave at the same time.
Yeah, there's always a little bit of temptation to save it, especially given that the potion shop's not that. I don't know. There's some temptation to save it to try to do fake powder, but I guess given that the location of the potion shop is known and the Canis Mario is very much still missing, I'd be definitely turn it in.
And Lillian actually bringing up a pretty good point here in chat. With the fairies that they have already, they do have the possibility of doing the mimic, like the potion glitch, but with a fairy instead.
Does that work?
Yeah, it's like pretty much the same as the normal potion glitch, only a little bit more finicky, and you also have to die.
Is it basically you set up the potion glitch and then you death warp into the fairy revival?
Yeah, you have to like get hit towards the left, I think, when you die, and then you just hold left as you're dying, and I think that's about it.
That's certainly something that I was unaware of. So we all get to learn things today. I'm going straight in the front door of Pod, which seems reasonable. They don't have enough keys and they don't have a bow to justify going around the hard way necessarily. And Frostbite's having a good spiral cave here. Good enough spiral cave here.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, with the double fairies as well. Like, definitely low risk of not
and now
making it through.
Even lower risk. Excuse me.
Yeah. Well, that's an interesting connector, though.
That is an awkward connector in a lot of ways.
Yeah. Could definitely end up being quite important. It looks like Tam is going to go for the potion glitch with the fairy here.
Let's see if Frostbite. So annoyingly, that means that sometime in the future they might have to go through the spiral cave again to check the extra exit. But looks like Frostbite's going to do some Dungeon Buddy revival, or not. Oh, 2 fairies. Yeah, fair. Tam dumps their second fairy to make the death warp possible. See if there's anything good over here.
Yeah, small key for Tetrarch is fine, I guess, but that shield is less exciting. So all in all, not too much good over there yet. That sword is pretty sweet, though.
That's a good fetch quest. 10 out of 10 would fetch again.
Always nice to have a early consistent weapon.
I don't think the sword is like the best item to get early, but it's like top 4.
Yeah, it's just like just makes everything you're gonna do that much like faster and more consistent, and like
easy.
Good way to stay safe.
Yeah. It looks like Frostbite is going to cash in a late Houlihan, which is, I guess, something to do.
We'll bring Frostbite to over 500 rupees, and like with the gloves, they could actually do South Shore without like isolating any entrances. So might be thinking about potentially doing a fake flipper after that.
Yeah, and the Houlihan is not that much slower than just saving and quitting back to Link's house anyway. So you might as well pick up the money while you're there.
Yeah. Gonna find out about the well here. Don't think there was really anything good in there.
I missed the fact that Desert Left was in the lake earlier. But that's a Not a particularly good entrance, but
Mhm.
It's an out-of-the-way one that's kind of obnoxious to check, so I guess
Yeah.
knowing about it is nice. And if the mitts ever turn up, it gives access to the Ice Palace entrance. Not that these guys can't fake flip, but that doesn't help. Yeah. Or I guess logical access to the Ice Palace entrance. And Tammy is checking both the exits here and is going to be somewhat disappointed.
Yeah, pretty good place to save quit though, at least, because they were kind of like done with their entire Kakariko dive with like this last exit.
Yeah, they're running a little bit low on things to do.
I wouldn't be surprised if they both use sync up in South Shore here.
Yeah, Tam would really like to find 22 more rupees before in the next 6 entrances, which seems reasonably likely. Going directly to the right rather than doing Dam first. Don't believe they got spat out at Dam at some point, did they?
I don't think so. I think this has been becoming like more and more popular to just skip the dam when doing the South Shore checks, and then like you could check that on the way over to Desert later, and like maybe hopefully even be able to grab the item the first time you go over there.
So Tam made the choice, which I think is reasonable, to spend 50 rupees on 10 more bombs.
How many bombs did Tam have when buying it?
I didn't see, but it does make the odds that they can fake flipper to Zora much worse.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Chat is telling us that they had 2 left.
Okay, yeah. And we're going to have to spend at least 1 here. Yeah, so that could be like a big difference we see early on here. Because if there's something good on Sora, it's quite likely Frostbite will have that quite a bit before Tam gets it. And then gets 4 bombs from the chess game. That's rude.
Yeah, that's not the best chess game. It looks like Frostbite is going to follow up with the fake flipper checks. So we'll see if there's anything good in there. I don't know how they played archer game twice.
Yep.
And I think have bought fewer bombs. This is not the fastest fake flipper setup I've ever seen, but it works. I've never seen someone set up pointing with the sword pointing north like that.
Yeah, definitely a little bit on what's the name for it? Conventional. Yeah, but I mean, if it works.
Yeah, I mean, it sort of doesn't matter as long as you know what the setup is. But I would say most people, if they're using holding out sword strats, face the screen transition. Tam finds Spec Rock and chooses not to check it.
Yeah, this is a bit awkward because you're going to have to walk quite a bit to get to Agina here, and then probably walk the path back again to see where that connector leads.
Yeah, I guess. If you're planning on walking back, you might as well leave the item check. The long walk for not much.
Oh, okay, that's an interesting entrance there being laser bridge, but we're gonna skip that for now. Could have actually taken like a def in there, and that would have like reset so you could walk in there, but then you would like lose the Sora play here.
Yeah, and does Dungeon Ice? Man, I'm rusty. Does Dungeon Bunny Revival work if you have a fairy?
No. If you do a Bunny Revival, with a fairy, you're still a bunny.
Okay. So would also have to dump. I think Frostbite still has 2 fairies in bottles. So.
Oh, that's a moon pearl from Sora. That's pretty big.
That is big. I don't know if they have good. Yeah, they do have. So the only Dark World connector that either runner has marked or I have marked is the Spiral Cave connector to.
Yeah. Which, speaking of, Tam is gonna check right now.
Yeah, and Frostbite might be doing it again in a moment. So
yeah, might be going there right after this, unless they decide to head over to Eastern first. So yeah, that could be our only way into Dark World for a while until we get another glove or hammer.
Yeah, those of you in chat that were cheering for suffering, might get your wish. Tam knows where the archery game is, so if they get bottlenecked in our last location in the Moon Pearl, which is not unlikely, they can always go and generate some money. It's not anywhere super terrible.
So I think Tam only has like Eastern area and Sora left in Logic in the Light World. So it's quite possible that we'll see like quite a long bunny adventure here from Tam.
Well, Tam also has ditched their fairies, so they can do this Dungeon Bunny Revival for free, I guess.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you're just gonna make sure to like get the most, even though like this can't be the Moon Pro. With the knowledge that Tam has, like it still could be something worth to grab right now, and then you can come back later when you have the big key.
And there's a couple of totally great items that could be, the mirror and the boots.
Yeah, mirror would definitely be pretty big because then you can like combo a lot of stuff in the Dark World during your bunny walk.
Yeah, and you can Super Bunny glitch more easily if you're really going hard at the bunny walking. So Frostbite has pathed out through the eastern area and is down to either going back into those dungeons found earlier or taking Spiral Cave.
Yeah, I don't think Frostbite went for the dam or to desert area yet.
Well, this looks like a setup for Spiral Cave to me.
Yep, you're just gonna utilize that Moon Pearl and head into Dark World.
And
so it's gonna be able to do like pretty much everything that Tam is doing right now, but a little bit faster, and as well as like checking some extra stuff that Tam is not gonna be able to do as a bunny.
Yeah, it is worth noting that Tam found a sword in Thieves Town, which I think probably is a worthwhile endeavor, given that Tam hasn't yet found the sword Frostbite has, which is the Mushroom Turn-In, which they will presumably get to as soon as they save and quit out of this bunny walk.
I didn't realize we had the big key for Skullwoods already. That's pretty cool. And we do get a big key for Meyer in there, so nice to get that out of the way your first trip into Skullwoods. Has to be a little bit careful going to the other entrance here now, because only one heart. Okay, it's going to take a drop down, which interestingly actually leads them to the other part of Skullwoods. Only one of the drop downs do that.
That's 1 and 4. Frostbite turns in their bottles, or rather shows off their bottle. Steals the key. Tam steals the key, which is totally reasonable. And, I'm not entirely sure where they're planning on going.
So Frostbite is being a little bit more thorough here in the Dark World, but that's because like they already have the Moon Pearl, so they just want to like get all of these entrances out of the way. This fine Eastern decides to dip it as well. Do have the big key, so we can get 5 instead of 4 items, but I think a lot of runners would be tempted to just leave this for now and hope to be able to do it in a single dip.
It's not in a great spot, especially given that Frostbite is aware of... I mean, for now, Frostbite's only Dark World access is terrible, so that might increase the temptation to go in.
Yeah, it's definitely a bit of a dilemma. I can see a lot of runners feeling like it's in a bad spot enough that it's worth going in now, but I can also like pretty easily see the justification for the other way around of being like, oh, it's like a bit out of the way, but not too far. So Tam did jump down into another, instead of walking into the main entrance, did decide to jump down in another of the holes here in Skullwoods. There is always a vanilla key here, so like even if they did this without the small key, okay, it's gonna stay and quit. Okay, because I was about to say if they walk out of here now, like they're gonna have to use like both of the keys in order to get the items, and that would be kind of awkward. So maybe this is for the better, because like now maybe Tam with the money decides to like go for some of the other avenues they have open at the moment.
Yeah, they've got... Well, certainly the first thing on their to-do list is to check the potion shop, which is right here. Get their Master Sword. Life is good. And with some empty bottles and money in hand.
Only bought 1 potion. I almost got a little bit
got nervous?
Nervous there for a second, yeah.
Frostbite doesn't appear to have found anything particularly great in Eastern, making this dip feel bad. But... and Tam is off to go do at least some of the castle.
Yeah, this is going to be interesting. So the first chest here is the only one in Logic at the moment. Would not be surprised to see Tam going for 2 chests and then taking a Death Warp and then going all the way to the back.
Or even 1?
Yeah, looks like you're just going to go for 1. You could also, like, after you go to the back, if there's absolutely nothing good in the back portion of it, you could, like, do a reset, because you get a save and continue here now. So, like, you would still keep all of your items except for the things that you get in back of Escape.
I'm going to check the exit while they're here. And as Chad is exclamation pointing at us, Frostbite found the swamp small at the back of all that. So maybe that's worth it.
That could definitely be worth it. Imagine having like double bows in Swamp Palace.
Yeah, I mean, it very well could be the case that swamp small locks Eastern completion. So it doesn't even require 2 bows in swamp either. Plenty of ways for Tam.
Tam is gonna go for a little bit more Dark World exploration here before heading for the rest of Escape. Let's find Mimic Cave, so even if they did have the Moon Pearl, would still need a hammer to do that. So
it's one of the less bad things to find.
Can't check the entrance of Pod because Kiki won't follow you as a bunny, but could head over to the pyramid, which I think would make a lot of sense because that is a location that actually could be the Moon Pearl in Tam's mind, at least.
Let's see if Tam tries to set up Super Bunny here. It's not easy.
Yeah, definitely a little bit awkward to do it here, but
these guards are not paying attention, which, there we go.
Right, this should do it.
Yes. Looks right. Yep. Nice.
Oh, okay, Flippers could actually like lead Tam back to Sora a bit sooner.
That was a nicely set up damage boost, Super Bunny.
Yeah, the guards are kind of nice in the sense that they usually like try and follow you in a fairly like straight path. So as long as you have their attention, you can usually just stand in front of the doorway.
And then push up the right time, which isn't that hard. But
powder as well. So that is actually in logic without the Moon Pearl, which is kind of interesting. We do know where the Moon Pearl is though, but definitely something that might be on like Tam's mind right now.
Especially given that I wouldn't be surprised to see Tam go check that powder right now, given the gloves and the powder, and then walk across the north side to check Zora area.
Yeah, I think that would make a lot of sense.
Frostbite showing off the power of being a bunny indoors and out with this Skullwood sorting being a little bit more convenient. Oops. On the other hand, you still got to dodge the Wallmasters. Are they the most annoying enemy in the game?
Wait, which one?
The Wallmasters.
Nah, I don't think so. Like, there's so many ways you can counter down, especially if you have a sword.
Oh, I don't think that they're difficult. I just think that when you do get Wallmastered, you feel really stupid.
Yeah, that's fair. I would say like, if you're doing Randomizer, then they probably move up that list quite a bit.
Yeah, that's fair. And chat, we're quite rarely pointing out the dead rocks are also super obnoxious.
Yeah, dead rocks are definitely pretty high on most people's list, I think.
Yeah, I think dead rocks make me go like, whereas whenever I get Wallmastered, I like almost want to throw my controller because it happens so infrequently. But when it does, you feel really dumb.
Yeah. Yeah, getting Wallmaster could definitely be more punishing, but dead rocks are more like annoying.
Yeah.
Right, looks like we're gonna head back into pod here. Does have quite a few numbers of keys here, so this is enough to check vast majority of all the items. In terms of logic, though, it's pretty much just like the back.
Yeah. But I expect to see intelligent rather than idiotic key usage, and so keys go farther when you're smart.
Yep. I guess in logic, there's actually like only one chest in here right now that's in logic, which is the one with the turtles here, because we also don't have a fire source.
Don't have specifically a lamp, if I remember correctly.
Right, because no advanced logic in Keysend or in Crosskeys yet.
So that small key to Hera is not interesting intrinsically, but it is. It might actually let Tem not check the basement of Hera, depending on what they're looking for later, just because of its inconvenient location.
Yep. Yeah, I guess like that key, it tells us lamp can't be in the basement of Hera. So you'd have to have a fire rod in order to check it.
This is a recoverable hammer yump, I think.
It's always scary when the bomb is like in the animation, because it's a bit harder to see like some of the visual cues for it.
Ooh, Frostbite found Paradox Cave while I was watching Tam Hammer Yump. Moon Pearl on Zora is kind of a dick move by the Randomizer gods.
Yeah, Yeah, in a mode like this, when you have so much open early on in the game, like heading to Sora is normally not like a super high priority.
Well, and the fact that the Zora accesses the glove rather than the flippers, I think, also puts it farther from mind, despite the fact that the logic don't care. The flippers sort of shout Zora in a way that the glove doesn't.
Yep, got a pretty big find there in the Dark Maze of Pod, getting a mirror for Tam. Could be something that kind of like maybe leads them away from Sora for a while, but definitely a good find still.
I wouldn't be surprised. In fact, Tam is busy going to the place that I would be tempted to go if I were Tam, which is desert right exit to safety ledge, which they should have walked out, by the way, rather than mirror there, to get to East Death Mountain.
Yeah, the mirror is definitely like that's a good find, but it is also quite a bit out of logic. Like, even though we have 4 small keys to Pod at this point, like you would still need 2 more and a lamp in order to get it.
Yep. Yeah, there's every chance that Tim goes off chasing wild keys here. And Tim, I don't know if they left their portal too close to the door or just forgot to pick up a bomb, but mirrors twice for no reason. Ooh, first dig shovel game.
Yeah, I mean, at that point, you don't really care what you get, right? You just happy to be out of there in one dig. Ooh, Tam having to be a little bit careful here, because still in green mail, so those Tektites would have done lethal damage, but does get a couple of hearts from here, so it's going to be probably quite safe now, without having to use that potion.
So cool for the rest of the hearts, and also the heart piece.
Swagging by only picking up 2 of the hearts.
That seems unnecessarily swaggy to me, but what do I know?
Let's find Agate Tower here. We have not seen any small keys to Agate Tower yet, so we'll only be able to check the first chest here, unless we happen to find a small key vanilla here, but didn't get it. Still have 2 more entrances. You can check on Death Mountain here. No hookshot, meaning we cannot get over to like West Death Mountain, unfortunately.
It's worth noting, in terms of the runners routing in their head a little bit, that location and the lack of Castle Tower small keys blocks one of the possible routes to the back of escape chest, which are not yet in logic, because the sewers key hasn't turned up, and neither has. There's no way to beat Aga yet.
Yeah, I feel like every time I get back of escape in that location, like the one of the Aga Tower small keys always happen to be in back of escape. Alright, so Frostbite is doing a lot of exploration here. Have found like a couple of good stuff, like some dungeons. We did saw Meyer in Hype Cape, for example. Not that we can do much there yet, but is getting some good information and like getting most of this out of the way in like one trip. Unfortunately, it doesn't have that mirror yet, though, so there's still going to be some like locations that's a bit isolated.
And with the mirror in hand, Tam gets to skip the location that Frostbite used to find Paradox Cave and go in the earlier discovered but inaccessible without a mirror option. So, what are your thoughts on all this stuff that Tam is doing that can't possibly lead to the Boon Pearl?
Yes, interesting, because like sometimes the Moon Pearl can be like really out of the way, and like just going for some sequence breaks can lead you to the Moon Pearl faster. And it's like hard for Tam to know exactly what of the sequence break, like how fast they're supposed to be in logic, because it could like quite easily be like there's like 2 more keys out there somewhere in logic right now. But yeah, it's awkward because if you're following the logic pretty strictly, there is still like quite a bit of the dark world that would be in logic for Tam as well.
So Tam's making their first trip to Village of Outcasts after getting spat out of the Thief's Side entrance as a bunny. Not a great connector.
Yeah, so we're getting spat out there in the dark world. Seems quite likely Tam is gonna clear some of the stuff up. Get to use the mirror at the same time though, so it could find some pretty good pickups that Frostbite isn't available to grab at the moment.
Yeah, and at least Frostbite, at least neither of them have the boots, and so I think bunny walking feels a lot more miserable when you could be running.
Yeah, it's interesting because like both of them are gonna isolate stuff around the same area, but for like different reasons.
I'm showing off get more Dungeon Money Revival. Just in case there's someone that's wandered in that hasn't seen Crosskeys before, given that it doesn't come up hardly ever in regular rando modes. If you die in a dungeon as a bunny when you revive, you are not a bunny anymore. It's kind of says exactly what it is on the tin when you call it Dungeon Money Revival, I guess. Which is a very, very useful in Crosskeys. Also, I appreciate this use of ether.
Alright, we'll get to see what's in... Oh, there's a big key on Desert Ledge. That's good knowledge to have. But we'll also get to see what's actually in Desert Main here with that book pickup that we got from Turtle Rock. And definitely going to be a save and quit here unless there's a connector, I think, because you're kind of locked in here now. And alright, at least that means we won't have to like jump down in... what's it called?
Rock.
Yeah.
Which was a connector that both of them had the option on checking earlier and opted out of. I believe.
Yeah, it was like right next to Desert as well, which is kind of funny.
I remember Tam jumping down, but I don't remember. Maybe they save and quit so fast that I missed that it was the Desert Main entrance.
Yeah, definitely could have been the case because I definitely did not remember that either. I guess Tam never did check this because I think this was like nothing here. Oh, not going back into the portal though. That's interesting.
Yeah, I'm not impressed by that choice.
Yeah, I'm definitely a bit surprised by that.
See if Frostbite goes at least 2 chests deep in the back of his cape. Sorry, front of his cape.
Yep, gets the pod key. Only thing in logic here at the moment. We'll continue. I will imagine Frostbite takes the death at the boomerang chest here. Meanwhile, Tam is back in escape as well, and probably is going to head for the back.
Get some both options, I guess. All right. Frostbite is continuing.
Yeah, I think Frostbite just did a saving quit. So if there's nothing at the bottom here, could just do a reset.
the secret additional option, additional button. Never mind, I didn't want these things anyway.
It's setting up a death warp though, so it's planning for, I guess, maybe this being something good. All right, this is quite of an aggressive move, I would say.
Yeah.
What having like the knowledge of where backup escape is and just go all the way down to Zelda right away, and especially since there's like nothing good there. Could have just redone like the first chest to get that one key back again.
Yeah, I'm not convinced by this choice, but
let's see what the back has, and yeah, it's gonna end up paying off for Frostbite. It's one of those plays where you're like just hope for the best, which is normally not always the best case to do in Crosskeys.
And in some sense, they both key stole there, right?
Yeah, it's the only real difference is like Tam going for the more number of items, but Tam also actually did only check like the first chest on the way down there to Zelda, so actually only gets like 3 instead of 2. Like I think like the more I would say like the more standard way of doing it is most people would probably go to Boomerang chest and then take the death warp, because then you get like the maximum amount of items out of that key steal.
One of several Boomerang chests, which always amuses me. If you refuse to take the Boomerang there, the game will attempt to give it to you in a couple of other places.
Oh, I did actually not know that. Where's the other ones?
I believe one of them is Chicken House. There's one in Kakariko. There's 3 separate chests that will have blue boomerangs in them, depending on which ones you open. Whichever one you open first has the boomerang in it.
Right, that's pretty cool.
And I believe that's the logic that gets reused for things like the in rando things like the hard sword modes, where the later swords were replaced with rupees.
So here's the flippers for Frostbite. And does have that small key for Swamp as well. Has not been able to go to the dam yet though. Probably need that mirror to get over there, unless there's another way up to that part of the mountain.
Here we go. Chat is filling in the details that I only mostly remembered, which is that Chicken Hut is the blue meringue and the brewery is the red meringue. And Tam is finally doing the thing.
Yeah. Probably I was gonna be happy to get the Moon Pro, but maybe less happy for not getting it earlier. But does have the flippers, so we'll be able to check Laser Bridge on the way to Sora here. And I think there is a small key on Sora Ledge that they will be able to grab as well.
Yeah, I mean, certainly Laser Bridge is the kind of place that you're very happy to find flippers. Let's see what Kiki the Monkey unlocks today. Nothing of interest. Has had enough.
Yeah, it does have half magic, so might as well use it. There's another small key to pod there, so that means. And
the lamp.
Oh, there's the lamp too. Okay, that's pretty cool.
Is that the mirror in logic?
I think we still are missing one small key in total.
Yes. Yeah, you have to have
Dark Maze requires 6 small keys.
It's pretty close, all things considered.
Mm-hmm.
Which might.
But yeah, because the flippers definitely are in logic with that Moon Pearl. Maybe that's the last small key on the ledge there. Do have a small key in the Magic Bat drop down as well, like the vanilla location for it.
Right, very carefully setting up the portal warp here. If you come out of it, moving to the right, the bomby guy can't get you before you get the ladder, and getting bombed there sucks. It's not quite as important because Frostbite has real flippers, but that is the generally easiest way to get over here if connectors don't spit you out. See what the shopping mall has in it today. Turtle Rock.
That's a little bit of an awkward place to have that entrance, unless you have like a good connector to get over here. All right, I don't remember what the item in here was, but I'm guessing it's something good. All right, that's probably worth picking up.
I don't know if Frostbite is bothered checking, but so where to next if you're Frostbite? Still without conventional Dark World access, and our connector situation still isn't super. Especially considering I don't know if Frostbite knows. Frostbite did not check Paradox lower exit, and so doesn't have a mirror, and so can't use that connector yet. It does know about this entrance.
Yep. And Tam heading back into Dark World is going to be able to clean up a lot of the things they left behind earlier.
Including this entrance, which Frostbite hasn't been able to check.
Yeah. So, like, not only will clean up stuff that Frostbite already did, but also get, like, stuff that Frostbite wasn't able to get before.
Yeah, so Tam spent an extended period without the Pearl that Frostbite, presumably built up some lead. Question is, will Tam have the mirror for long enough without Frostbite having it to sort of make that lead back?
Yeah, I think Frostbite is kind of in the area to get that mirror, right? Because I think Pod was like right next to Desert here, so it might actually be something that Frostbite is planning on heading into after this.
Yeah, we'll see which way out of Desert Frostbite chooses to go. Tam is opting to do Hera Basement. Did find the lamp, which holds the Hera Small into logic. Though I don't know if Tam is keeping that close an eye on it.
Yeah, I think like this is just a lot of like the more awkward spots in dungeons and stuff like that you might see people skip in a normal like open or standard 7-7. Like in this game mode, most of the times you just gotta like suck it up and do it because it's quite risky to skip a lot of locations in this game mode.
And that location real sucks. Like
it does. Yeah, especially if you want to go back to it later. So might as well just do it the first time in.
Yeah, I mean, there's a fairly high chance you're gonna have to do that at least once more, but you really don't want it to be twice more. So, so all of you that were wishing for lots of trips through Spiral Cave today, that's 2 so far, and a third one probably in the future. So.
Now this is interesting. It's heading back to Thieves Town. Does not have the small key or hammer yet, so quite unlikely we're going to be able to get the big chest. But fairly good chances of getting a crystal at least.
Yeah. I think this is plausible. A plausible thing to do while you're here. The fact that the Thieves Town big chest is locked by 2 things that you don't have. Seems fine. And chat, at least indirectly making fun of Amazing Amphiros's delightful hint names for locations, mentioning that Hera is in fact at the southwest mountain foothills camp. Aye. I'm doing some nice quick swap here. Going back and forth with the boomerang and the bomb. Indecision on Frostbite's side.
Yeah, Frostbite got himself into a little bit of a sword fight there. Managed to win it.
And if you lose to the guards, you're you got bigger problems.
Yeah, I guess that's fair. This looks like a pod play to me from Frostbite, so that's going to end up being quite good for him. I'm going to get the mirror.
And Cam has an interesting collection of stuff, right? Lamp, Master Sword, glove, flipper, moon pearl, mirror. It's like a lot of the good stuff, but there's still an awful lot of ice rods out there.
Yeah, it's like a general bag of goodies, but like they don't do too much on their own. I would say like the mirror is like the biggest one, just because like you can get to so many extra entrances and stuff like that. But in terms of like dungeons and stuff like that, like this combination doesn't give you too many of them.
Frostbite's checking a green pendant when we finally find Sahasrama. And the Compass of Turtle Rock in the Formless Hellway is one of the items that Tam couldn't have gotten earlier. Yeah. Tam attempting to avoid getting murder-dactyled.
Yeah, did a good job of it too. It's going to check this entrance here that Frostbite already did, but it's also going to be able to head over to Graveyard Ledge, even though it's a little bit obnoxious to do it with without boots or mitts. And Frostbite setting up a Death Warp here right before grabbing the mirror.
I'm just showing off.
Yeah. Isn't there normally a chicken there?
They powdered it.
I did not know that was a thing.
I didn't know it was a thing either. So, good on you, Tam. We're all learning things today. First, fairy potion glitch.
Yeah, this is giving me a lot of lore questions.
Tam, at Graveyard Ledge, finds an excellent connector. And that was the Canis Samaria on the floating island, I believe. So, also good knowledge.
Yeah, it's not going to end up being too impactful for Tam quite yet, because no hammer to get over. Wow, that's interesting connector now. But yeah, no hammer to get over to West Death Mountain. But with finding this though, it's going to be able to like clear out both of these, or like all of the East Death Mountain Light World at least in one go here. And did find another connector, which is Hookshot Cave. So we'll see if maybe this goes to West F Mountain instead.
I don't remember which connectors go where.
Yeah, so many of them in the same place. This is like the main hub, it seems like. So this is definitely like one of the more important connectors because it also gives you 4 items. Definitely something to keep track of.
Write that down on your tracker.
Oh, how about that? We're back up here again. Did not mirror grab the item.
I might have missed it. I was pretty sure it was the chain, but I trust Cam's eyes over my eyes.
Mm-hmm. Worst case scenario could quite easily get back there at least. Oh, there's a flute. That's pretty nice to have. So that at least takes us to West F Mountain.
I missed what the turn-in item was, but flute's a good one. And Frostbite finally finding the dam.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, this is a very interesting sequence of events there up on Death Mountain. Does I like to just jump down here to check the Dark Death Mountain entrance, which I think makes a lot of sense, because now that we have the flute, we don't really need to worry about West Death Mountain access with the mirror anymore.
Yeah, this is totally reasonable. And
there's the hookshot. Too bad we just left Hookshot Cave.
Oh god, and getting back there is a disaster, isn't it?
It's a bit awkward for sure. Probably is gonna head to like West F Mountain first, and maybe hope to get like a hammer or something like that to make it a little bit easier to get back.
No, it's Mimic Cave, and Mimic Cave is off of Hookshot Cave.
Yeah, but you can get into Mimic Cave by jumping down to Spiral Cave. I'm pretty sure. Nope. That's like the first part of the connectors that leads into all the other ones.
Oh, okay. There's another connect. I was only thinking about the 3 of the connectors, and I missed one. So what you're saying is we don't have to go back to Graveyard Ledge.
Yeah. Well, if we get the hammer, then we can just go by Hera.
But step number 1, go turn on the flute. I think this is go turn on the flute via the castle, which is cute, but I'm not actually convinced faster routing than just starting at Sank.
Yeah, Right, this is it. And it takes him to Thieves Town, and Chimera, I see.
Yeah, this is clever. I'm not sure it's good, but it's clever.
Yeah. Yeah, this is like one of the interesting parts with like rando, and especially like randos like these that are quite different from like the vanilla speedruns. That is like many of these things are not like hard timed. So It's like you don't really exactly know which ones are faster, but they're probably, I don't know, maybe close at least.
Does get Tam a mirror portal somewhere useful, and maybe they want to do some exploration in the Dark World here.
Yeah.
Frostbite missed the iframes version of this room. Now has to tediously deal with tiles.
Yeah, so in terms of, since Tam seemed to have the idea of like continuing in the Dark World here, then I think that route was definitely worth it.
Yeah, this is going back to the stuff they ditched earlier, including apparently, including shovel, which they couldn't have gotten when they were bunny walking with the mirror. remembers to pick up their map. Actually, do still have some information to get, and that isn't any of it. That is the most useless map they could have possibly gotten.
Do you get to see the top of Hera here? Biggie was in Skullwoods, I think, that Tam wasn't able to grab that first time into Skullwoods.
And Frostbite without hookshot is going up and around rather than bomb jumping over, falling down. I think it's faster.
Yeah, that's just maybe a little bit more of a safe to play. If you don't feel 100% on that bomb jump, it's really punishing to miss.
Devastating if you screw it up. So.
Yeah, it's definitely one of the worst bomb jumps to miss.
And Moldorm, as always, slightly easier than he is supposed to be because we have fancy swords. Tam with book in hand.
That's a nice pickup with the mitts from Moldorm.
That gets decent Dark World access, if nothing else.
Yeah. And if Frostbite is pretty close to that graveyard ledge, and with mitts, it's even easier to access it. So if they happen to go up there, then like you get the flute as well, and like those mitts becomes even more impactful.
Tam finds the literal ice rod at the tablet, which is one less ice rod to find later, I guess. Tam is now crossing their fingers that Turtle Rock is a crystal, and hopefully our trackers caught the map flash, because I missed it.
Yeah, that was a very quick map check. I just hope for like flavor's sake that we get the Fire Rod on Ether Tablet now.
It looks like Frostbite is off to Graveyard Ledge.
Oh, and apparently Turtle Rock was a pendant, so that's a little bit obnoxious.
Now what we have to hope for is something good on Trinix. There are still possibilities for something good on Trinix. Not a ton, but...
So, alright, there was just a red rupee on the island, so Tam skipping it makes a lot more sense now.
Apparently, a quarter of a rupee looks too much like a quarter of a Canis Maria for me. I apologize for lying to chat. Please take my my deepest sympathies. And Frostbite having left behind King's Tomb, which is accessible due to the rod, due to the mitts. Or rather, having left behind King's Tomb is off and not following the chain of shenanigans that leads to Hookshot Cave and thence to Hookshot and the flute. And
yeah, that could be a little bit awkward for Frostbite. I can understand it, but it's could end up being a little bit annoying if like that hookshot or something like that is blocking the hammer.
I mean, yeah, that was a silly chain of connectors up there, but important place to be, right? The Turtle Rock Bridge is an exit only location. The only way there is via a connector.
There's our boots in my ears, so hookshot required to get those boots.
All right, at this point, which one of these positions would you rather have?
I would say like Tam overall seems to be in a little bit of a better spot, but it's definitely too early to tell at this point. But just like having some of those like mids are nice to have, but just all the other goodies that Tam has gotten is going to make overall routing a bit more nicer, I think.
I agree. Frostbite is checking out the top of the castle and remembering to mirror up here. Finds his back and has everything in hand to do this, so deal with this while we're here, never come back. Call it.
It's going to be a little bit of an annoying fight with like Master Sword being your best weapon, option. Really, or almost only weapon. Use bombs as well, but like they're a little bit less accurate than the sword.
Yeah, bomb landmo is not exciting. And screws up the rail clip the first time, but it's the second time, and it's certainly a time save even on 3 or 4 attempts. So I should really learn how to do that rail clip. I think it's not very hard.
I've like learned it like once or twice, and then I don't use it forever and forget about it. They get a mirror shield in the big chest, just a wrong big chest from the vanilla location, but you know, close enough.
I think the most impressed I've ever been with a top tier runner was during the league last year. One of the runners didn't know how to do that clip, and their co-pilot did in the Clock Spoiler Week, and like with a just do this, and run through the rail, and they did it correctly first try, and I'm like, man, I'm not that good.
That's pretty cool. All right, Frostbite takes down Lamo and does get the fire rod, so that's a pretty good payoff for that.
Also a good reason not to have the fire rod for the Lamo fight.
Yep. Classic rando, just giving you the stuff you want after like you're done with that part.
Frostbite ditches their mirror portal on top of the castle, which...
Yeah, it's going to take this connector instead, which brings them back into Dark World.
In a better spot. But...
Yeah, so I would imagine... Actually, I'm not sure, did we ever see like this third connector here?
I'm pretty sure Frostbite did, but I don't think we did.
Okay. Oh, okay, this ends up pretty nicely for Frostbite then.
Frostbite has recovered from the ditching the graveyard ledge, I think.
Yeah. So gonna like be able to grab pretty much everything that Tam got up here. As long as I guess Frostbite decides to jump down Hera. Or like the Spiral Cave entrance instead of the Dark Death Mountain. That is a choice, right? Like you get like one entrance if you jump. Well, it has mids, so actually doesn't have to choose. Yeah. Could do both.
Yeah, the mids makes it a little bit easier.
Mm-hmm.
Looks like we're going Hera first.
Yeah, Hera first will kind of block Frostbite away from going back here again. But yeah, that connector is pretty easy to get to, at least.
Yeah. This is the most I've seen Paradox use as a connector in a while.
Oh, and that's a hammer.
So, I find it interesting that Ham has not yet used their flute to go to West.
Yeah, I would tend to agree because there's like so many entrances up there, and they're like pretty concentrated as well.
Yeah, and Chad is very correctly pointing out that Catfish is the last place to go, and they have a mirror. they're even setting up the quick warp here, which is the
Yeah.
reason you run into this wall. And I expect to see a mirror and a flute momentarily.
Yeah, Tam might have like tried to do some of these locations in Dark World that are guaranteed to have items to like maybe try and maximize chances of having hammer when you come up here, because the hammer is what would like give Tam a pretty quick way of just getting back to Hookshot Cave again.
Well, it's coming in a moment. First, we got to walk slowly out of this cave because old Ben can't run. So what entrances are we still excited to find? Skullwood's back.
Skullwood's back for sure, yeah.
I'm just going to interrupt for a moment. Canis Maria on Old Man Rescue.
Oh, that's a nice pickup.
Yeah. Apparently, he doesn't need to walk anywhere anymore. He can just have his cane.
Yeah. All right, so that most likely means that Frostbite will be able to single dip Meyer later.
Yes. Which is not the hugest deal. You can get to the back of Meyer pretty quick, but it's still worth doing. So we haven't seen Skullwood's back, and I was going to say that we were missing Hype Cave, which found that.
Yeah.
I think we're otherwise out of big out of 5 and 7 chest caves.
Yeah, pretty much.
And we know we're
like something that could be on the agenda for both Frostbite and Tam quite soon might be Ganon's Tower. We have entire basement pretty much available for Frostbite, with a couple of bomb jumps to skip the hookshot for now. And Tam does have that hookshot and hammer, so we'll be able to do at least the entire left side. Doesn't have the fire rod yet, but you could sequence break that as well.
It's kind of a pain. It's you have to bomb jump off a conveyor belt, which is kind of obnoxious with Maulmasters in the room, but it's doable. Ham is checking the Dark World entrances first. And I believe that was the back of Old Man, which is not a great spot for that. Before checking the Hera entrance, but totally reasonable. Again, still really hoping to find a hammer here. So.
Yeah. I think this routing is kind of gonna end up paying off for Tam, because when they get the hammer, they can just go straight over to the East Death Mountain right away.
Yeah, I mean,
Frostbite, they get the hammer too, so looks like they're gonna head there as well, and that way the Frostbite will actually get the hookshot before Canister as well, so it's gonna be able to like skip those a little bit more janky bomb jumps.
Yeah, Tam is presumably feeling like this is the end of their route, only to discover in a moment that it is not.
It's always nice when like this game mode ends up giving you a lot of surprises, but like it's always nice to get a couple of pleasant ones every now and then.
Very occasionally, the surprise is actually nice. Right, so here's the brothers, which will lead Frostbite to Hookshot Cave, I believe.
Yeah. Well,
I'm finally good enough to invest in health by the heart.
Yeah. I mean, the reg tech tights over here does 2 hearts, so I think it makes sense. Just playing a little bit more safe, not having to use the potion.
Yeah, turns out the 10 rupees is many fewer rupees than 150 rupees. So spiral to Total Rock Connector Bridge to Mimic Ledge to Hookshot Cave.
Yep. Let's see if there's actually anything good here in Hookshot Cave.
Did Frostbite just whiff on Hookshot Cave again?
I'm pretty sure Frostbite saw it, but just decided not to go through the connector. Because I actually don't have the hookshot yet, which will it's going to get it here.
Right. And then can they easily get back up there?
Yeah. Can you doesn't have the flute activated yet, but could just activate that and go back up there, or use the paradox connector to get up quickly.
Paradox connector's the fastest one. If they have checked the bottom entrance, they can go bottom entrance to the middle entrance.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Turn on their flute, go back into paradox, go upstairs.
Mm-hmm.
Which could potentially make them feel very clever.
Yep. A third way of doing it would be okay. Yeah, it looked like Frostbite was heading towards like the left part here, so like could have hookshot over to East F or West F Mountain and then taken the entire trip up again.
All the way around.
Yeah, that would definitely been like the less ideal version of it.
Tam now with some items that actually help you beat dungeons, working their way through Ice Palace.
Yep, fully clearable. Does have the big key, so I'm not going to isolate anything in here. And very likely this to be a crystal, unless it's the last pendant.
Indeed, it is very likely to be a crystal, unless it's the last pendant.
Yeah, kinda is how that works.
Yeah.
All right, we got 4 small keys to Ganon's Tower. I didn't realize that. So yeah, everything pretty much in logic in here, except for the top part and the big chest.
And there's every likelihood that that's in here somewhere.
Yeah, there usually tends to be, something good here at least. So many chests, so like you would be feel quite unlucky if you don't get anything good from the basement.
Well, what do we need that we don't have yet?
Bow would definitely be a big one.
Yeah, at least one of the dungeons that requires a bow is of crystal. Pod big, probably.
Yeah.
And that's it?
Guess that's it. Yeah, pretty much. Tam would also need to find a fire rod, but we know the location of that already. And the boots are not really required as far as we know. So, like, you could skip that. Frostbite probably doesn't want to skip that, but like if they get into go mode early, then who cares about the boots at that point, really?
Yeah. The Tam is missing one more or 2 more entrances.
Right. There's one of our bows against tower.
It's a good find.
Mm-hmm. So I guess best case scenario, Frostbite has everything they need for go mode except finding Skullwood's back. And like I guess worst case would be still need to find that one big key. I also think that Frostbite is not aware about the Turtle pendant yet. So like in their mind, might have to find Ice Road too.
Yeah. The Tam needs to find Desert, which is on top of the castle.
Yep. So that was a big key, but it was a big key for Ganon's Tower. But I mean, it's nice to find before going over to that big chest at least.
Yeah. Tam using hammer strats on the puffs here, which kind of suck, but with no fire rod.
Yeah, that's kind of feels bad when you have to use the hammer when you like have the half magic and everything.
Well, and Lenmo is kind enough to let you use the ice rod on him. Oh, that's
rude. All right, so that's our last pendant, and so we have full information about that. But yeah, there was nothing good in Ice Palace, and it's a pendant, so that's like a double whiff for a time there.
That was a 1 in 8.
Mm-hmm.
Sucks. It turns out that if it is a pendant, the odds of it being a pendant are quite high.
Yeah. That seems to be the case. But yeah, Tam is gonna head into Ganon's Tower as well. So we'll get that bow at the very least.
If they go right.
Actually, yeah, because no fire rod yet, so might potentially skip that.
Given the things that Tam has done this race, I'd be surprised if that were the case. But they seem like the sort of person that's going to go do the bomb jump, but maybe not.
Yeah, it was heading left first though, so we'll have to do ice armors without the bow at the very least, unless there's a bow in the big chest or in Bob's chest here.
If they keep sword beam strats aren't the worst.
Yeah, sword beams is a pretty good backup. Not sure where that blue cane was, but I'm pretty sure it wasn't in here.
AQ type is confident in Tam's right side GT bomb jump shenanigans. So Frostbite screws up the quick kill, which happens. Makes you feel dumb. Doesn't cost you that many seconds. All key to Hyrule Castle, finally, for Frostbite.
Yeah, well, that is definitely something that could be on the runner's mind, because they both have something they skipped in Hyrule Castle.
Yeah, that item is so rarely worth mentioning, but today it's worth mentioning.
I'm not sure if I like this play too much from Frostbite, because I'm going to grab. Oh, okay, never mind. Just going for the bow locations that they skipped earlier. Actually, skipping that too. Okay, now I'm a little bit surprised, because first I thought Frostbite was just going to go in and like grab one of the single locations left, but maybe Frostbite was thinking with the bow could actually beat the dungeon, but doesn't have the big key yet.
Yeah, that was interesting.
Yeah. Even still, though, like you're skipping those both side stuff. Might have just forgot about it. Like sometimes when you get so many items at the same time and you have like your attention is split on like tracking entrances and items and stuff like that, it can be quite easy to just forget a couple of details here and there.
Well, and the total time expenditure of that walk into pod was not very high, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for sure.
And Frostbite is few enough items from winning that he's chosen to just start doing dungeons and hoping for the best, which feels entirely reasonable. There's the second ice palace small key, which nice to have.
Yep, a little bit less nice when you already full cleared it, but you know, you'll take what you can get.
No, Frostbite hasn't.
Oh, I thought Tam got it. Okay, never mind then. I'm used to it.
Aren't you glad we don't have 4 of these streams up? We definitely
Yeah, that would totally not be disorienting. But yeah, Swamp Palace is definitely an interesting play here because there's a lot of items in here, 10 in total. Don't have the big key yet, so we could get 9 of them. But I think that's a pretty fair deal. Double dipping Swamp is not as obnoxious in this mode as in a normal mode.
Yeah. You have to sit through an entirely tedious cutscene. Tam showing off Spiral Cave again, this time faster. Coming back here to do some Parapot shenanigans.
Yeah, still does not have that big key yet, so it's going to leave one chest behind. We know it wasn't anything important, but there is a slight potential that we could see that connector one last time after this.
Tam was very ambitiously trying to do spin speed Parapot with the mini Moldorm still in play, which seemed gratuitous. But on attempt number 3, gets it. So that's supposed to walk into the fire tank. Let's see some diver down. Is it done?
Yeah, I'm definitely a little bit curious to see when Frostbite decides to go for like a map check. Might be going for a walk into Dark World here, and then head over to Eastern to like grab that crystal and do a map check at the same time. Because like with the knowledge that Frostbite has right now, could potentially be in go mode. We know he isn't at the moment though.
Oh, right. Tam got distracted from finding Eastern by the whole graveyard ledge shenanigans. But has checked almost every other entrance in the area of the Curiosity Shop. So it might be a while before they make their way back there. Bad news for Tam. Feels bad when you get hit by the puffs. Oh, and here's your turn for 10. So, never mind. Everything's in order. Other than the bow.
Yeah, so this is going to be a little bit awkward for Tam with not getting that bow. It's going to end up double dipping this as well. That fire rod is definitely a little bit of a thorn in the side right now. And it is like, there's triple entrances over there, so that is like a sign that maybe Tam will head there sooner than later. But there is also like so many other stuff open.
Yeah. At least has conventional Dark World access now. Well, they both do both ways. So Frostbite finally checking the map and getting the knowledge about Turtle Rock. Bow is in right side GT. And the fire rod is on Landmo. Landmo is on the top of the castle. I think that's the end of that logic chain. So we were suspicious that Tam would do GT right, but found something good in GT left? No, not really. Here's Frostbite and Eastern to actually accomplish something.
Yeah, and I'm very interested into seeing like where Frostbite heads after this, because knows, or at least will know after this, that Ice Palace or Meyer, well, at least that one of them are likely to be a pendant. But like both of them are like kind of right next to each other, so it's going to be interesting to see which one goes for first. Ice Palace is in Light World though, so maybe like that's a bigger sign for you to like just go for that first.
easier to get to. Slightly easier dungeon.
Yeah.
There's the Swamp Small for Ham, which is relatively nearby. So I would not be surprised if that's not the next port of call. Not yet in severely running out of entrances mode, but it's curious. Skullwood's back is the obnoxiously missing entrance.
Mm-hmm. They both have like the access to head over to the Maya area, which I don't think we've seen at all yet. And there is a big key on that ledge.
Yes.
So that could very well be like the one big key we're missing. Like it kind of has to be Pod or Swamp at this point, I think.
Or Turtlerock.
Oh yeah, Turtlerock as well.
I can read artifactors, I promise. So
that's a nice tempered sword find from Tam. Was this in one of the Bonk Rocks?
Pegs.
Hammer.
And we lied earlier when we said we found all the 5 chest entrances. Apparently, you and I both hallucinated seeing Blindside earlier.
Yeah, we weren't lying. We were just wrong.
That's fair.
It's a difference, right?
Yeah, I try to minimize wrongness on the stream, and I think I insofar as possible, try to avoid lying entirely. So, because that would not be very good commentary. Hey, chat, we're full of shit.
And Tam keeps going for these like drop downs. I'm kind of interested in why, because like it does have the small key of just being able to go like this path that they're taking now.
Also, they're back here again without a fire rod, which is questionable.
Let's get that Hera big key, which is probably not a big key that Tam is like super excited to see right now.
So Frostbite has just signed themselves up for clearing Ice Palace, so that's good news for Tam. And here's the Swamp Clear from Tam. There's still some non-zero chance that Tam gets bailed out by the second bow being somewhere along the way.
Yeah, for sure. So yeah, I wouldn't be too surprised to see one or maybe even both of the runners head to Maya area after this. Because they did get that flute, and we have like, so what, 3, 6, 7 entrances over there?
7 entrances and a known big key for Frostbite.
Yeah.
Another entrance that is interestingly missing is the bomb shop, which has slightly restrictive placement rules, but it's just sort of curious that that's a place we haven't found yet.
Yeah, that is always one that can be a little bit awkward. But with the flute and hammer, like at the very least, they will be able to get to like the Hype Cave portal pretty quickly with it if it ends up being something they have to do.
Tam remembers not to try to open the Skullwood's big chest, or Swamp Palace big chest.
Yeah, and skipping left side for now, I think did Frostbite end up skipping left side completely. Pretty sure. So that is always an interesting call. I mean, in Frostbite's mind, it could have been Ingomad at that point. But yeah, it is always a little bit scary when you leave stuff behind in Crosskeys, because there's so many more opportunities for it to like
matter.
Yeah.
I mean, at least Ice Palace. Sorry. Looking at least Swamp Palace is somewhere reasonably easy to get to, right? It's right next to a flute location, so
yeah, that's fair.
You know, you're much happier leaving that behind than Bumper Ledge. You know, Ham gets to do the quicker, easier strategy here.
Yeah, I'm honestly a bit more surprised that Tam didn't go to the left side right away, because Tam is still looking for a fire rod and a bow as well as the big key for a pod.
Yeah.
So it's like quite unlikely that Tam was going to find everything they needed in the back here.
Yeah, I agree. And they've just quick swapped over to the flute, which seems bold. So both runners there have had an easier fight than their opposite number. Tam with the Tempered Sword, Frostbite Fire Rod. And here's that Meyer play that you were expecting.
Yeah, Frostbite might have remembered the big key. And if this is the pod big key, because right now Frostbite has full information about the remaining crystals. So this would put Frostbite in pretty much in go mode. It depends on where the back of Skullwoods is. It could still be boost slot, and then it would need to find a boost as well. Could potentially be Quake Lock behind the Meyer entrance too.
Miserable.
There's our.
So I would talk to that guy.
Mm-hmm.
Just because we're running a little bit low on entrances, and it's not a huge deal, but I think there's enough information to justify the 10-second speech bubble.
I guess, but talking to him wouldn't really do anything though, right? Because we already have both red crystals because the big bomb was there.
Right. You're right. You're entirely right. Yes, the information I guess I was worried about was whether or not Skullwoods could possibly be in the pyramid, and we know that it's not because we already have the red crystals.
I see. Yeah. I did find Spike Cave too, but like looks like Frostbite is just gonna scout out all of the entrances here first before fully committing too much to anything. This is 3 items that are fairly quick to get though, so we'll go ahead and grab those.
And easy to get out of. Spike Cave is, I mean, you'd rather not walk back out of. Sorry, it's been so long since a runner walked into the bomb shop for the first time, and the bomb's just sitting there.
Yeah, it's definitely a bit interesting when that happens.
I'm going for damage boost strats here with 19 hearts, and skipped a heart piece at some point, so not getting to 20. But
yeah, rip the 20 heart dream. Doing a really good fight here though. Didn't have the bow for the second part, but just equipped the cape. Does have tempered sword, so those slashes do quite a bit of damage still.
That was only spent 6 of their hearts out of 19. This, I think, is the pyramid play.
It looks like it, yeah. So this will get him a crystal and a fire rod, and that fire rod like kind of also leads into getting the bow. So this is definitely going to be a good play for Tam.
Yeah. Mirroring on the left-hand side, which is the... It always drives me crazy to watch people walk up the stairs, the mirror, on the pyramid.
Yeah, I've definitely been guilty of doing that way too much.
It's not a huge time difference. It's just, like, obviously wrong.
Mm-hmm. Okay, here's our back of Skullwood, so this is definitely gonna end up being quite good. So I think there is no connector leading over here as well, so that means the flute was required to get here.
And the mitts.
Yep.
Yeah. Increases the total number of required items for the seed by a couple.
I like the play here from Frostbite, just heading to the back first, because this is only a big key from Go mode, and has the knowledge of that, so if this is the big key on the boss, then you could like skip that one chest. And if not, then like you'll just go grab it after the fight instead.
Yeah, the marginal time cost is what? 1 screen wipe?
Mm-hmm. That was a really good hammer fight.
It was a really good hammer fight. This is not a great Ice Rod Lambo. It is a bit weird. Ice Rod Lambo is weird because the Ice Rod shots are slow, but I'm certainly terrible at it. So, all right, Frostbite heading back in to open this last chest.
Yep, and I would imagine if this is nothing, we'll see Spike Cave and then maybe even go for that big bomb into Pyramid play. And Tam heading over here too, so it's going to be able to get the crystal here as well. Okay, interesting save and quit. So it's going to skip Spike Cave for now, as well as the big bomb. Spike Cave is a little bit more questionable skip, I would say, just because it's guaranteed to be an item, no matter what. But with Frostbite still having Meyer open, it's like 8 items.
The other... Frostbite hasn't seen Blindside, which is a thing that could potentially be at the pyramid. I think maybe the behind there, especially given that you found the last dungeon you're interested in, is totally reasonable.
Yeah, just going for the item density right now, which is definitely fair.
And here's Tam making exactly the play that that I was suggesting, which is, even though you know all the crystals and pendants, there is value in actually talking to the guy.
Yeah.
And Tam, I don't believe, has checked the book-locked entrance, and so we're likely to see a mirror for that as well.
Oh yeah, right. And Frostbite about to pick up their boots here. Always nice to see sub 2 hour boots. It's all you can ask for in this mode.
I mean, you can ask for sub 2 hour Ganon, but not going to happen today. This has not been a particularly kind seed.
Yeah.
With God routing. I think this is on the worst side. Oh, right. Tam did come out of Desert Main, which we totally missed, but we've talked about it once already, so oops.
Right. Yeah, there's definitely a lot of like details that could be easy to forget about, which is why like the tracking part of this game mode is so important. Speaking of, like, definitely big shout outs to both of our trackers today, Jinx Girl and Samimas.
Yes, they help us look less stupid. So Tails, the reason that they're marked differently is that Frostbite only knew that he had the red crystals, whereas Tam actually knows which crystals they are. And Frostbite appears to just marked a couple at random. Just the relevant information.
Yeah, Frostbite never actually talked to the person, so it didn't really matter which one was the red crystals for his knowledge.
So Frostbite is back or is still running around Maya, rather. Let's see if Tam's Tempered Sword moth fight goes better than the Hammer one. He's unfortunately going to have to defeat the Skibdo.
Yeah. Just backed off a little bit just to be sure not getting grabbed by the wall master. But doesn't have any sword beams here, which usually are quite beneficial when you have tempered. Sword beams can otherwise be a little bit of a distraction.
It's also a quite nice moth fight. I think that was 3 spikes instead of 2 spikes, but yeah. Neither runner successfully setting up Spooky, which you can do from inside the dungeon, but it's a faff. And I don't actually know if it's possible on the entrance that they had Meyer in. The rules for exactly when and when you cannot do Spooky are especially complicated. They don't have them memorized. I'm sorry, chat.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's probably possible, but I think the setup for it would like you would have to go for the non-flute setup and just throw a cane block into the void.
Yes,
but that one is a little bit less known than the other setup.
It's also finicky in ways that I think are like hard to practice.
Mm-hmm. Frostbite took a hit there by the big guy, kind of scared me for a moment, but had things under control in the end.
Only 17 hearts might not have been enough.
Mm-hmm. I mean, at this point, you use your health as a resource, right? As long as you don't die.
Well, yes.
Right. We are going to get the spike here check here, so this could be a big one.
Jeez. Tam has their heart beeps on double, which is crazy tough.
Yeah, double the beeps, double the fun, right?
No, heart beep quarter.
Yeah, personally, usually go with that too. Yeah, nothing in Spike Cave. I totally can't wait for the big key to just be on left side swamp that both runners get. Other potentials we have open at the moment is the climb of Ganon's Tower and
everybody's favorite.
Yeah.
Pedestal.
To a ped, yeah, that's definitely open. We haven't seen Trinex yet as well. Speaking of, here's the ice rod for Frostbite, so both runners have the potential of doing that. There is one chest I think both runners haven't checked in Party yet as well.
Yes, the
could be it, but if that's it, we would. Yeah, if that's it, we would still need like a small key to pot instead.
I mean, Tam has enough smalls.
Oh yeah, you're right.
Hammer yumped.
You're right. It would only be Frostbite that would need another small to pot. Yeah, Tam is going to use that fire rod now. Well, quite soon at least, and get that bow. So is only going to be a big key away from Gomad after that as well.
So Tam has the cape, and presumably just enjoys Tile Room, because you can cape and then pull on the wall to avoid having to think in that room for 20 seconds.
Yeah, I can see like go both ways, because like if you use the cape, then you don't have to think, and thinking is overrated sometimes. But then again, like Tam might just wanna practice some of those D-pad movements. I don't know.
Gives you time to think about what you're going to do next, which is go beat Eastern. But
it's gonna leave instead of climb. I think it makes sense. Like at the very least, you could do Eastern before deciding if you want to climb up there or not.
Yep. So we're now in proper Ice Rod Hunt mode. Pam is presumably just going to go do Eastern first. But
I guess Smith Chain is something we haven't seen yet, huh?
Nope.
Definitely forgot about that one.
And the Smith is Smith's house is somewhere terrible. So no, it's actually right at a flute spot. So thank the rando gods for that.
Yeah, that's definitely one of those where it could matter quite a bit if you end up doing Smith Chain or not. Can just be based on where the Smith his house is located.
And Pam, I guess this is only the second. They both did 2 dips of Eastern. Frostbite did it an hour before Tam did.
Yep.
Well, there's Quake.
Useless Quake is useless.
It's not useless. It's the entrance medallion for Turtle Rock. Oh, we got spat out there. Never mind, it's useless.
Yeah.
You're smarter than me, Walter.
No. I'm just lucky sometimes when I'm thinking.
Frostbite even used that connector for fun and profits. So.
Yeah, that's gonna get his temperate started, so that's gonna be nice to have. Have done most of the bosses already, but it's gonna be nice to have on Ganon at the very least.
Yeah, especially if the silvers don't turn up, which it's looking less and less likely that they will.
So, did we have the useless fairy in the pyramid?
I believe so, yes.
Okay. So it makes the climb a little bit less appealing. Because it would only be 4 items instead of like 5 or more.
Yeah, it drop downs are generally exciting, except for that one.
They'd have a small key here. Won't really be a small key that's like too impactful unless it's a pod small. Because Frostbite only had 4 of them. But yeah, Turtle Rock small won't really matter.
Yeah, they found enough ways into Turtle Rock at this point that doesn't matter. Tam is back to Shopping Mall, which
Turtle Rock big chest time. So we have 2 locations we haven't seen here: Purple Chest and Turtle Big.
Tam could, in principle, go beat Trinex from here as well.
Yep, looks like my plan to do that, or at least grab this one chest behind the big door.
I mean, with one item left, Trinex is as good a thing as any, and you can always go pull the ped after that.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, you can almost see it like as a green pendant at this point, because like you beat the boss and then you get a bonus item afterwards.
Well, and if you're these runners, do you feel behind?
I mean, it's hard to tell. I would always feel behind, probably, but like I think it's fair to say like a lot of runners tend to like be in the mindset of like, oh, my opponent probably routed this more cleanly than I did, and maybe having a better day in terms of execution and stuff like that. So I think it's pretty easy to feel behind, but in a seed where you like almost have to like last locate stuff, then I feel like it could be anyone's game.
Yeah, I mean, you should play differently if you're behind than if you're not, and so
yeah, for sure.
Having a good understanding of whether or not you are behind is useful. Nope. Has Frostbite made it back around to Hookshot Cave yet?
I don't think so, but maybe.
I mean, given the utter lack of interest in going there, I assume so, given that he's looking at one item that's for there. But
yeah, actually, now that I think about it, I think Frostbite did get Hookshot Cave. Right, so we only had a boomerang on Trinex, but it is our third pendant, so we could pull pad. It does have Fire Rod, so could check that entrance at the same time as going for the pet pull.
Yeah, with the Fire Rod in hand, I think going there in the Dark World is the play to get extra checks. Frostbite, having gotten their boots quite late, is now off to go make boots checks, and hilariously has never save and quit to the old man, despite rescuing him a solid half hour ago.
Yeah, that's the power of Flute and Mirror right there.
Yeah. And 17 hearts, like...
Yeah. Alright, we're gonna see that back of Escape now. We know it's nothing, but Frostbite doesn't know that yet.
And it's actually in logic for Frostbite. I mean, it's in logic for both of them, but...
Alright, blind pet pull.
Sam appears to like swag after the swag chicken earlier.
Oh, nice.
So, didn't pay off. By no means paid off. That's going to save some number of seconds at Ganon. So of all the useless things, that's the least useless one.
Yeah, the blind pull paid off at least, because like most of the times, if there's nothing in terms of progression, if you read it first, it's better to just leave it. But Silver's actually does save a little bit of time still.
Saves more than cutscene seconds. So Chad is asking if Frostbite really hasn't been back to Thieves Town, and the answer is no. And I would guess that he's attempting to put that off until the small key turns up, given that he knows it's a...
Yeah, looking like they don't have a lot of choices right now, but it looks like both our runners are going to decide to climb Ganon's Tower. So if it's up here, I would say definitely a little bit of a advantage for Tam here, partly because Tam is climbing first and also has the silvers.
So Frostbite hasn't yet checked bow side in pod, and so is doing that first.
Yeah, probably will check like everything that's available here now except for the boss.
Yeah, we're running out of heart pieces to use for the who has made more total checks game, on account of Tam can never again get more health. So Tam made a point when they walked into the hub room the first time to bomb open that wall, because it saves time compared to doing it from the right when you go through the bow side. Not a ton, but it's relatively free to do it. This next check is interesting, because it's the check that Tam hasn't made it in pod.
Mm-hmm.
Or one of the checks. Pod.
Yeah, I think this is the only one that Tam has not checked.
That's red mail. So Frostbite is all loaded up on defensives now.
Yeah. I mean, doesn't this mean that Frostbite is in the lead in terms of hearts now? Because red mail, 18 hearts is a lot more than 19 green mail.
Did Tam miss wherever the heck the blue mail is? I guess so.
It was in the Spectacle Rock caves. It was like a little bit. You had to go a little bit out of the way to grab it.
Okay. He's red. No, they're red. I actually don't know what the gender is of the sprite.
Yeah, green hair at least.
The blue hair guy does not sound nearly as impressive as blue male. All right, so where's Frostbite off to next?
Looks like we're gonna check the Ice Palace entrance here, or maybe this is actually a way to Laser Bridge. So it's gonna be the play for Turtle Rock, and maybe after getting that pendant is incentivized enough to head towards Feastone. But we know there's really nothing back there right now.
All right. I reckon we should set an over-under line for chat for total checks before they beat this game.
Okay, I think 1. What do you think?
Dang it! No, I mean total checks in the completion roll. So how many checks is Tam going to make?
Yeah, Tam just got the big key for Pod, so it's in a very definitive go mode here now.
I mean, that's basically the race, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, look, that Ganon Tower climb was definitely the play, but it's awkward to do it because, like, in a normal game mode, just climbing Ganon Tower is something you always have to do. But in this game mode, it's very rarely required by the seed unless there's like items up there.
I mean, it's a place with 5, on average, 5 and a bit checks in it.
Yeah, like doing the climb is pretty much like doing a pendant dungeon, like with 5 items in it.
And a kind of obnoxious pendant dungeon at that. So. So right, how many checks has Tam made total? You reckon? Over under.
I'm not sure. Maybe I would say like a 190 somewhere. Maybe a high 190.
I'll take over 190. Over 190. Put the line at 190.
If we go over under, I would say like would have to go like a 196 or something like that. A little bit higher than a clean 190.
All right, I'll take over 196. I think that's more questionable.
Very quick fight though. Silver's definitely nice now. Still have 6 arrows for Ganon, so can even miss a couple. Oh, and there's a small key for face down. Cool.
Yeah, that's great.
Ganon was the fairy cave, I think, so flew to 2 would probably be the fastest way to get there, which Tam is going for. Should be a pretty quick fight here. Tempered Sword, you have to be a little bit precise to get the 1-on-1 cycle, but other than that, everything looks pretty well equipped here for Tam.
You know, if all else fails, cape, half magic, right? Like, I believe Tam has at least 1 blue potion. So,
yep.
Short of literally bouncing and falling off, should be fine.
Yeah, even with like Greenmail, has a lot of safeties here to just make sure everything goes the way they want to.
Going for swag fire bats there. And Frostbite is off to go do another thing that is not the thing.
Yeah, I'm finally heading to Thieves Town. But unfortunately, not the play.
Can it stop?
Yeah, I was about to say that's a lot of teleports. And it's especially rude in a tournament race when you're like really wondering how close your opponent is to finish. Right, nice triple there.
Thankfully, the Rando gods decided that we were blessed with having the same number of warps on both sides. So, congratulations to Tam, who will be our winner today.
Yeah, very nice. Very nicely done. And gonna move up to the 2-0 side of the Swiss portion here.
Yep.
For next week.
Every week, competition gets a little bit harder, we hope. But 2:14:20. Interestingly divergent game that came down to a ice rod hunt at the end.
We are joined by Tam. GG's on the victory.
Thanks, GG.
The Zora Moon Pearl was not the kindest thing in the world.
Yeah, I kind of like 15 or 20 minutes in when I had like a glove and literally nothing else. I'm like, kind of feels like something is on Zora. But there's just no way that you go there with no pearl and no flippers.
Yeah. Sorry about that. So as it happens, you bunny walked your way into a super out of logic mirror, where Frostbite. So at the time you made your South Source sweep, Frostbite had the Zora money and got the Moon Pearl then, and then didn't find the mirror for ages, and so we got to watch you bunny walking around and mirroring for like half an hour. While Frostbite slowly but surely made his way through the dark world. So it wasn't at all clear from our perspective how this race was going. How did it feel from your perspective, like being there, ice rod hunting? Did you feel like you were doomed to failure, or did you think you'd played well?
I got like 100 different things out of logic. And even though I was so late to the Moon Pearl, like I was doing things. I found a bunch of useful entrances. I got some items like the mirror and the flippers. So I didn't feel that it hindered me too much. And then there was a lot of items like Cane of Samaria and Ice Rod that were in like such strange places. And we had no maps at all forever. So I spent the whole game not knowing like if I was like I could be half an hour ahead or I could be half an hour behind. I had no idea.
I mean, it wasn't clear basically until you did the right thing and Frostbite didn't that you were ahead, right? You were very much in, buying scratch-off lottery tickets, checking the stupid places.
Yeah,
both of you by the end there. So, and
I was half tempted to just climb as soon as I found the bow, but like it was so easy to get back to GT, it didn't really matter. Yeah. I definitely got a kick out of the Thieves Town Small on armors.
Yeah.
Which meant that the ped bow was definitely behind the other bow.
You got the ice rod much earlier, but the fire rod much later. That Landmo location, the fire rod on Landmo on top of the castle was a bit of a terrible spot for it.
Yeah, that was something that Because I got the cane what felt like really late. Like, I wanted to go, like, do Mire and then Top of Pyramid, but I was like, if something's on Vitreous, it just kind of sucks. I want to do other things, especially when I got the Swamp Small. So I knew that the entrances on Harrow Castle were, like, I knew they were there for ages. Like, I had so many opportunities to go check them. So when I saw Desert and the Fire Rod there, I was kind of upset about that. But the Ice Rod, like, I was like, I got the Ice Rod, I was like, sweet, this is really cool. I have one map, it's Totorock, let me check it. Cool, it's my oldest pendant. The game sucks.
Yeah, that's an entirely reasonable response. At that point, you're hoping for an actual ped seed, but just silvers. Walter, you had earlier in the seed, you were like, "There's a bunch of things I want to ask." Do you remember what any of those are?
Sure. How did you feel about like your Death Mountain trips? Because there was a couple of ways to get up to Death Mountain, and especially you found like a main hub of like connectors leading into connectors for a while there.
Oh my god, that chain of
like the hookshot
so
cave, and then
ridiculous.
dropping down, getting the hookshot right after.
Yeah,
But then kind of like locking you away from getting back there again. Were you like trying to wait for the hammer before heading up to Death Mountain again?
well, I at least knew that the hookshot cave items are just a pain to get to no matter what you do, so I didn't feel too bad about that. Kinda, like, it always felt like I had different things to be doing aside from Death Mountain, even though I had Mirror and Book, so it was like, I kind of felt that the tablet would be useful. It was pretty funny that 2 items were on tablets, even if the Ice Rod was useless. Yeah, and I did know that I'm pretty sure the Hype Cave was in Logic for like a ridiculous amount of time because there was a connector to Spike Cave, I think. So when I got the Bombos, I went straight to Ice Palace with it. And then of course that was a pendant. But yeah, I don't know, I guess I just wanted I kind of did want to wait for the hammer because of Hookshot Cave. So when I get the hammer up there, it was kind of convenient, but kind of not that convenient at all.
Yeah, sure makes sense.
It makes you happy that your route continue, but it makes you sad you've put this off until finding the thing.
Exactly.
Yep. I think this is Frostbite finally checking Hookshot Cave on stream. So
I don't even think anything was there, right? Maybe a
nope.
small key.
But he's running out of locations, and it's Hookshot Cave or GT Climb, I think. So.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. As well as Left Side Swamp. Both of you actually ended up skipping that one.
Yeah, I was kind of waiting for the Big Cave Swamp, but at this point it may as well. It could just be on Left Side Swamp.
Mm-hmm.
And I also, I went into Swamp, and as soon as I went in, I was like, I probably should have killed Vitreous first. So at that point, I was like, yeah, I'll just skip Left Side.
That, I don't quite follow the logic there, but whatever reason...
I should have killed Vitreous first, in case the small key of Big Key of Swamp was there.
I don't... I guess then justifying going back to Swamp is easier later. Sure, I'll buy it.
Alright, I was also 2 items from Go Mode, I think, at that point.
Yeah.
So it was less incentivized.
No, the pod big is the Go Mode item. Is I think Frostbite has been pod big from Go Mode since 40 minutes ago, 45 minutes ago.
Yeah, I can imagine
that. Kind of a terrible. Oh, now I have to check the pyramid.
Yeah, I think other than checking the pyramid here, the only thing that Frostbite has open is climbing the tower or heading back into Swamp again.
Yeah. Yeah. Sorry, I'm just looking at his map tracker. So who'd you beat last week, Tim?
Magnet Hands.
So you're now in the 2-0 bracket. What's your goal record for Swiss?
I'm not really aiming too high. Being 2-0, especially against the people I played, is kind of a surprise. I would like to be at least positive overall. I think there's so many good players, and Crosskeys is something that can just surprise at any time. So I'm not really, whatever my result is, as long as I play well, I think I'll be pretty satisfied. Which I think I've ultimately, I haven't really made too many bad choices so far. I think I had some execution mistakes in this seed, but aside from that, I've been pretty satisfied.
Yeah, it's the. I mean, Crosskeys is always going to be a little bit higher variance than some modes, and there's just because it's more open than hard standard. But it's always how much bunny walking is the correct amount of bunny walking to do is not an immediately answerable question.
Yeah.
So, 187. Dang it! I took the over on 196 items. So I'm actually kind of impressed that you only got 187, given what feels like how few checks you had left.
Yeah, we need to find a way to make the item collection count for stuff that you actually see, because then you would get over 210 way more often in this game mode.
Yeah. Well, I skipped Smith Chain and the one single heart piece I think that was on Death Mountain, which I'm tempted to go back and get just to have 20 hearts. But yeah, there's also 2 chests in GT and stuff.
Yeah, it's it always surprises me when it feels when you get to the completion screen and it feels like you've done everything, and the game says no, you haven't.
Yeah.
And 10% more game to do. Sorry, Walter, I interrupted in the middle of your first question. If you have any more.
I'm a little bit unsure. After a while, everything just get melded together. But it was definitely an impressive run from you, and definitely gonna be excited to see who you get to play next week, because the matches are gonna become so much more competitive for every week that goes by.
Yeah, this matchup was already pretty scary, so I think next week is
this was definitely.
I don't think it can get too much more difficult. Frostbite is really, really good, and I wouldn't have been surprised at all to lose today.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, this was definitely a very strong matchup.
I just need to shout out Powder Chicken.
Yes.
And
I almost forgot to do that.
And the Fairy Revival potion glitch, which I didn't even know was a thing.
Yeah, I was kind of disappointed that I got no useful items for that, but I was pretty proud to pull it off relatively quickly. And I got the 2 fairies. I may as well have used them.
Well, you just threw away the second one. I think Frostbite still has them, by the way.
Yeah.
Because you guys rapidly ran into enough safeties for it not to be a problem. But he was
and Frostbite ended up not doing that poaching glitch. So if that would have been something impactful, you would have had it for quite a long time before Frostbite, because he didn't come back until later when he had the bow.
He didn't come back until 10 minutes ago.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. I guess I can see that if you get the pearl earlier.
Well, and I don't know if he ever. Sorry.
I don't remember actually finding the 6th pod key. I was so sure for ages that it would just turn up immediately.
As it happens, the both Harmless Hallway and the Vanilla Big Key location were nothing. Hey, Buttersword. I'm impressed. I'm happy that Frostbite is finishing this seed, even if he's eventually going to have to climb GT. I can sense some frustration, but He's going to have more than 187 completion for sure.
Oh yeah, I can imagine.
Yeah, Frostbite is one of those runners that like plays this game a lot. I know, like way before we started using race time, I think Frostbite was like the one runner who had like the most runs on the older platform that I don't even remember the name of anymore. Speedruns Live, right?
Yeah.
And I think like also very like rarely forfeits as well. So definitely has like a lot of experience.
I mean, I'm definitely the kind of runner that when I get to go mode, I feel like the game is over and I'm not interested anymore, which means that I'm terrible at the end of the game. So Frostbite at least doesn't fall into that hole. To me, the interesting part of Rando is the puzzle of finding all the things, putting them together, and then like, oh, job done. Is Crosskeys your favorite mode, or is it are you just playing because it's here?
My interest in it kind of goes up and down. I wouldn't say it's my favorite mode, but I'm going through a period where I don't dislike it. So
it's easier to do that when you're 2-0, I think.
Yeah, that definitely helps.
All right. Feel free to hang out. I guess we can talk about this last few minutes of Frostbite's race. But if you want to take off, feel free. We're done interrogating you, like the evil interviewers we are. 1 second, Lando. Nice.
Yeah, nice Lambo fight. It's always nice to see a good silver Lambo fight after like the main tourney where no one got to use any silvers.
Well, Frostbite had to do a Master Sword, no weapons Lambo fight 2 hours ago, so I'm sure it feels nice to have useful weapons.
Yeah, that's definitely a big difference. And is used to running through this entire like gauntlet.
By the way, Tam, you need to practice your Ice Rod Lambo, it looked like.
There's a few different things I need to practice, I think.
I mean, they're all the slightly obscure things, I think. Like how does Ice Rod Lambo come up?
Yeah, using Ice Rod on bosses is cursed, so I try to avoid it.
That's fair enough. And Frostbite is real sad.
Yeah, does get Gomo though, and Pod is like right next door to Ganon at least.
I think that might be the forfeit right there.
Yeah, it looks like it. We'll see if Frostbite want to jump in and talk a little bit.
I believe that he's one of the chatty runners. Unless he's salty. We might see him in a moment. Any word from Frostbite? I'm not smart enough to be in the race time chat. All right, apparently Frostbite is joining us momentarily. Sorry, I said this already, but I feel obliged to fill up airtime. Frostbite is joining us, so we'll talk to him soon.
Yeah, and good thing with the like the Swiss format is like even with a loss here, Frostbite still has like everything in his own hands in order to like try and get to the bracket. Everyone who goes with 0 losses or 1 loss will definitely make it into the bracket, and everyone who goes 6-2 will still have a chance in the tiebreaker race.
I look forward to the tiebreaker race. That'll be great. Welcome, Frostbite.
Hey, GG Satam. This is my least favorite type of entrance race. I don't think anyone can enjoy this one, but yeah, I don't know. I feel I played well. I feel if the pod big key's in like 75 different spots, I probably had a really good chance to winning, but it was in the worst possible spot for me, I feel, other than Hookshot Cave. So, GG's.
GG Frostbite.
You, I think, got to the lottery scratch-off Rice Rod Hunt before Tam did, but Tam is less unwilling to climb the
It wasn't that I was unwilling. I just felt like when I didn't climb right away, like climbing was a better option than Hookshot Clave. Climbing was a better option than going back to TR East. So I figured when I didn't climb when I went in for the small key, which I still would have lost already at that point, I think. But I just didn't feel like it was a really viable play until I'd put it off for too long, if that makes any sense.
Yeah. I was
literally looking for the pod biggie for an hour and 20 minutes. Like, I mean, it was unbelievable. I hadn't found the back of Skull Woods yet, but I knew I had access to every single location, so that wasn't going to be a problem. I was looking for, like, if the pod biggie is the one on Desert Ledge, I finish at 140, and it was like, it's just so not fun. Yeah, this is entrance. This is why it's my favorite mode, but not my favorite mode, like I always say. I feel like entrance is fun for the first 90 minutes, and then it sucks unless you luck yourself into a quick end game. And I didn't this time, and it was just really not a fun seat after about an hour. But I felt good about the Moon Pearl. The glove was the only thing I found early, so I was going to check all those spots early, and I figured I would route the water spots in and get that done. And then I feel like I found the mirror not early, but not late. And the boots I got super late, but I didn't really feel bad about that. And yeah, honestly, I just feel like I got really unlucky in this one.
Yeah. So for your information, you got the Moon Pearl something like half an hour before Tam did, because you guys actually were both making a short sweep at the same time, and you had the money and Tam didn't.
I specifically hula hand, like, I don't know, 10 minutes earlier with a long-term Zora play in mind.
But Tam... Bunny walked into the mirror super early, and so you guys were very divergent for a long time because of that. Tam got the Moon Pearl quite late as a result.
Well, I mean, I got the hook shot so late I couldn't even. Where was the mirror again? I don't even remember. Was it?
It was
in Pod, right?
Yeah, it was the Dark Maze in Pod.
Yeah, so I could have got that like at 15 minutes. Yeah, so, yeah, I don't know. Just didn't get lucky. I mean, I felt I played well enough to win. I made mistakes, but I just, when it's a one-item hunt and you don't find it, you can't win. Like, I knew when it got to about 220, I figured I'd lost. I don't have the race room up, and I wasn't going to forfeit till I found it after I'd been looking for it for so long, so it is what it is. But, yeah, I'd love to say looking forward to the next match. I'm not really too after this. Not really looking forward to it after this, because it's a very, very unfun.
Yeah, it's a shitty way to lose.
This is where I wish there was like the door counter, like indoors, how you have the item counter at the top. I don't feel it would hurt the game in any way. I think it would be a good add. I'd love to know how many goddamn items I looked at before I found the pod biggie. I bet it was over 100. Maybe more than that even, because it was like full clear GT, full clear Mire, full clear pod, full clear swamp, full clear every single overworld spot. Like the only spot I didn't check was the second chest in Castle Tower. So I mean, like, it was a lot of checks looking for one thing.
Yeah.
But anyways, GG's again, Tam. Good luck in your next race. I'm glad I don't have to race you probably again, at least for 3 or 4 more rounds, unless I get unlucky. And yeah, I'm gonna step out and go make lunch. GG's.
Good luck next week.
Thanks.
And congratulations, Tam. That was a bit of a whirlwind. So, Jinxie, if you could talk us out.
Sounds good. That will sum it up here on ZSR for this Crosskeys race. I don't believe there are any more on being restreamed for for the rest of the day. Not sure about tomorrow, but be sure to tune into the schedule for some more Crosskeys fun here on ZSR. On behalf of Walter Excalibur, Sammy Moss, and myself, big thanks to the runners. We will see you soon here on Zelda Speedruns. Have a good night.